the good part about being in the mobile space or having a presence in mobile these days is that analysts are figuring out that we will have a positive revenue growth year in 2025. So, before we celebrate and open the champagne, we have to remember that the revenues are concentrated in the hands of the top publishers. So this will not directly translate in a coming back of the external development space. So indies being published or service companies receiving new contracts in mobile. We expect 2025 to be an equally challenging year for anyone looking for funding from those traditional sources.
The spend isn't there. The VCs are not
Yes.
opening wallets at the moment. No, it's true. Well, with the expertise that you had in mobile at the time and then shifted over onto PC, did that affect the way that you developed PC games? Is there an ethos that you were able to bring, like positives from that space or little learnings that you got? Because there was a kind of logic at one point that the mobile space was a testing ground for a lot of new ideas. So if it happened on mobile, you'd see it in all other games 2 to 3 years later.
Yeah, I think the really interesting part is that as PC and console games became more enamored with the idea of live operations and a long tail of content drops and downloadable content, taking the mobile ethos of like really fast iteration and engagement with the customer during the life cycle of the product was something very useful, and something that a lot of PC and console publishers were actually looking for. They wanted to do more of that. They saw the opportunity of like continuing to generate recurrent revenue streams from a game that had launched. And for somebody that had done this for many years in the mobile space, it was much easier to make that transition. And we knew all the tricks of the trade, if you will, right? So we could act in that capacity as consultants to the publishers and suggest new things and new strategies, both for monetization and design and creating content in a sustainable manner. And that continues to be an advantage, for any mobile developer thinking, okay, there may be a safer haven for me on other platforms. Some of that expertise absolutely carries through.
And I imagine in certain countries as well, there is a broader PC-based audience where perhaps consoles aren't as popular or as proliferate. And so there's something to tap into there. Do you find, you mentioned you have lots of international studios that you work across. Do they see drastically different types of games for the different marketplaces and audiences? Is perfecting the type of game for the right space part of the success?
For an indie developer, that's absolutely a winning strategy.